The man stood on our porch, his gun shaking in his hand, pointed straight at my wife, Madison. Her eyes didn't waver, not even a flicker. She just tilted her head, her jaw set like steel, and said, "You really want to play that game, buddy?" He had no clue who he was facing, not just my wife, but Major Madison Carter, a Marine officer who'd stared down worse than a fake badge in a suburban cul-de-sac. That guy, puffed up like he owned the block, was about to learn he'd picked the wrong house. It all started with a stupid sign on our mailbox, a neon yellow slip that screamed trouble from a mile away. We'd barely unpacked our moving boxes, still tripping over bubble wrap in our new home in Willow Creek. The notice read, "Violation. Mailbox not regulation height. Fix within 48 hours or face fines." No signature, just a logo for the Willow Creek Community Patrol, like it was some official crew. I laughed it off, thinking it was a prank. We'd been here 3 days, 3. I was still figuring out the coffee maker, and Madison was untangling extension cords in the garage. But that slip was no joke. It was the first jab in a fight we didn't know we were in. Madison found me staring at it, my coffee cold in my hand. "What's this nonsense?" she asked, snatching the paper. Her eyebrow arched, the way it did when she smelled something fishy. "Regulation height? We just got here," she said, tossing it on the counter. I shrugged, figuring some neighbor had too much time. But 2 days later, another notice hit. This one was nastier. Vehicle violation. Truck parked improperly in driveway. Fine, $150. Repeat offenses will escalate. My truck was parked dead center, not blocking anything, just sitting there like a normal vehicle. Madison's eyes narrowed as she read it. "Escalate to what?" she muttered. I could see her gears turning, the same look she got before leading a mission. She didn't say much, just grabbed her laptop and started digging through our property deed. I sipped my coffee, now microwaved, and leaned over her shoulder. The deed was clear, no homeowners association, no rules about mailboxes or trucks. "So who's this community patrol?" I asked. Madison didn't answer, just saved the deed as evidence under sconoandesoy.pdf. That's when I knew this wasn't just a nosy neighbor. Something was off, and Madison was already on the hunt. The next morning, I was outside watering the lawn when I spotted him, a guy across the street, snapping pictures of our house with a camera that looked way too fancy for a casual stroll. He wore a badge, a radio clipped to his belt, and boots so shiny they screamed costume shop. I waved, trying to play nice, but he marched over, chest puffed out. "Morning," he said, all serious. "I'm Officer Jonni with the Willow Creek Community Patrol." I wiped sweat off my face and forced a grin. Didn't know we had a patrol. He flashed a laminated card, but I caught the fine print. Valid through 2022. It was 2025. "We handle violations," he said. "You've got a few already." I tilted my head. "Like what?" He listed them off like a script. Mailbox height, truck parking. Even our welcome mat was non-compliant. I laughed, thinking he'd crack a smile, but his face stayed stone cold. "We'll need to inspect your yard," he said. I stopped laughing. "No way, man. You got a warrant." His eyes got hard. "Non-compliance will be noted," he said, scribbling on a pad. I went inside, locked the door, and told Madison. She didn't laugh either. Instead, she pulled up a county map and started cross-checking property records. "This patrol doesn't exist," she said, her voice low. "No registration, no tax filings, nothing." I whistled. "So they're just making it up?" Madison nodded, her fingers flying across the keyboard. "This is fraud, Rock, and I'm not letting it slide." That's when I knew we were in for a fight, one she was built for. Madison didn't waste time. By that evening, she had a plan. She set up a small whiteboard in our dining room, still cluttered with moving boxes, and started jotting down every detail. The yellow violation slip, Johnny's fake badge, the expired ID. I watched her, amazed at how she turned our kitchen into a command center. "We need proof," she said, taping the notice to the board. "They're not just annoying. They're breaking the law." I nodded, but part of me still thought it was some overzealous neighbor with a power trip. The next day proved me wrong. Another slip showed up, this time stuck to our front door with blue tape. "Final warning. Unapproved lawn decor. Fix now or face $200 fine." The decor was a tiny flower pot Madison's mom had sent as a housewarming gift. I ripped the paper off, annoyed. "This is getting stupid," I said. Madison didn't look up from her laptop. "It's not stupid, Rock. It's a pattern." She was right. That afternoon I saw Jonni again, this time with a woman in a matching vest, both poking around our neighbor's yard. Sansa, an older lady who lived next door, was outside, looking nervous as they measured her fence with a tape measure. I walked over, trying to stay calm. "Everything okay, Sansa?" I asked. She clutched her sweater, eyes darting to Jonni. "They say my fence is too short. I don't have money for this." Jonni turned, his badge glinting. "This is official business, sir. Step back." I didn't budge. "Official how? You're not cops." The woman, who had Arya on her name tag, smirked. "We're the community patrol. We keep things in order." I wanted to argue, but Sansa looked scared, so I backed off. Back home, I told Madison. Her face got that steely look again. "They're targeting people who won't fight back," she said. "Sansa's a widow. She's not going to lawyer up." That night, we installed 2 motion cameras, one by the mailbox, one above the garage. Madison wasn't playing around. She'd seen this kind of bullying before, in places way tougher than Willow Creek. By morning, the cameras caught something wild. Jonni wasn't just taking pictures. He was sneaking into our backyard at 2 a.m., shining a flashlight on our shed, measuring it like it was evidence in a crime scene. The footage showed him muttering into a radio that didn't even crackle back. "This guy's unhinged," I said, watching the video. Madison paused it, zoomed in on his badge. "Look at that," she said. The badge had a star with 5 points, not the 7 of a real county officer. "They're copying Marine insignia too," she whispered, her voice tight. I realized then how personal this was. These fakes weren't just scamming neighbors. They were mimicking her world, her honor. Madison called her old Marine buddy, now a county clerk, and confirmed the patrol had no legal standing. "It's a con," she said, hanging up. "They're banking on people being too scared to check." But the twist came that evening. Sansa knocked on our door, hands shaking, holding a new notice. "They want $500 for my fence," she said, tears in her eyes. "They said they'll take my house if I don't pay." I felt my stomach drop. Madison took the paper, her jaw tight. "Nobody's taking your house, Sansa. I promise." After Sansa left, Madison turned to me. "This isn't just fraud, Rock. It's extortion." She grabbed her phone, started typing notes. "We're setting a trap. They want to play tough? I've dealt with worse than fake cops." I saw the Marine in her then, the one who'd led teams through chaos. She wasn't just mad. She was ready to end this. Madison didn't sleep that night. She sat at the kitchen table, her laptop glowing, piecing together every scrap of evidence. The whiteboard now had a timeline. First notice, second notice, Jonni's backyard sneak. I made her coffee, trying to keep up. "You're scaring me a little," I said, half joking. She looked up, eyes tired but sharp. "They're scaring Sansa, Rock. That's worse." Her voice had that edge, the one she got when she was ready to take charge. By morning, we had a plan. Madison wanted to catch them in the act, but we needed more than camera footage. "They're organized," she said. "We need to know who's calling the shots." That day, things got weirder. I was at the grocery store when I ran into our neighbor, Arya, the woman with Jonni. She was in the cereal aisle, no vest, just a hoodie, but I recognized her smirk. "Heard you got another notice," she said, casual, as if we were chatting about the weather. I froze, my cart half full. "How'd you know that?" She shrugged. "Word gets around. Fix that flower pot, or it's going to cost you." I wanted to snap back, but her tone felt like a threat wrapped in a smile. I told Madison as soon as I got home. She didn't flinch. "They're watching us," she said, checking the cameras. Sure enough, the footage showed a car, a beat-up gray van, parked across the street at odd hours, its driver hidden. "That's their move," Madison said. "Scare people, then hit them with fines." The next twist hit hard. Sansa called, her voice shaking. "They came back, Rock. Said my fence is a safety hazard. They want $800 now, or they'll report me to the city." Madison grabbed the phone. "Sansa, listen to me. They can't report you. There's no HOA here. Don't pay a dime. Sansa sniffled. But they had a badge, Madison. It looked real. Madison's jaw tightened. It's not. I'm coming over. At Sansa's house, we found her sitting on her porch, clutching a new notice. It was typed, official-looking, with a logo that mimicked the county sheriff's seal. They're copying my old unit's badge, Madison whispered, her voice low with anger. She took a picture of the notice, then hugged Sansa. You're not alone in this, she said. Sansa nodded, but her hands still shook. Back home, Madison called her Marine contact again, a guy named Mike who worked in fraud detection. He dug deeper and found a bombshell. The Willow Creek Community Patrol had a website, buried deep on the internet, with a payment portal for fines. It linked to a PayPal account under a name, Jonni Kessler. That's our guy, Madison said, writing his name on the whiteboard. But the real shock came that night. Our doorbell rang at 9 p.m. I opened it to find a kid, maybe 16, holding a pink slip. You're in trouble, he said, nervous. They said to give you this. The slip read, trespass warning, unauthorized surveillance equipment. Remove cameras or face $1,000 fine. I laughed, but Madison didn't. They know about the cameras, she said, her voice cold. They're scared. She checked the footage and saw Johnny's van parked nearby, headlights off. They're not just scamming, she said. They're stalking us. I felt a chill. This wasn't just about flower pots anymore. Madison looked at me, her eyes fierce. We're not waiting for them to come to US, Rock. Tomorrow we take the fight to them. I nodded, knowing she meant business. The Marine in her was wide awake, and Jonni had no idea what was coming. Madison was done playing defense. That morning, she woke up before dawn, already on her laptop, mapping out the next move. I stumbled into the kitchen, rubbing sleep from my eyes, and saw her whiteboard covered in arrows and names, Jonni Kessler, Arya, the fake patrol. We're hitting back today, she said, her voice steady but fierce. I poured coffee, trying to keep up. What's the plan? She grinned, a rare spark in her eyes. We're crashing their meeting. I choked on my coffee. Their what? She showed me an email from the fake patrol's website, announcing a community safety meeting at the local library that evening. They're bold, she said, holding it in public like they're legit. I shook my head. That's crazy. Madison nodded. Crazy's what we need. She spent the day rallying neighbors. She knocked on Sansa's door first, sitting with her over tea. Sansa was nervous, twisting her napkin. I can't face them, Madison. They scare me. Madison squeezed her hand. You don't have to. Just show up. I'll handle the rest. Sansa nodded, her eyes brighter. Next, Madison called on a young dad across the street, Rock's buddy, who'd gotten a $300 fine for a basketball hoop. They told me I'd lose my lease, he said, bouncing his kid on his knee. Madison crouched to his level. They're lying, Tim. We're shutting them down. By noon, she had 6 neighbors on board, all fed up but too scared to act alone. The human side of it hit me hard. Sansa's shaky hands, Tim's worried frown, the way everyone looked to Madison like she was their lifeline. That afternoon, we found another twist. Our mailbox was spray-painted with "Pay Now" in red letters. I stared, my stomach turning. This is personal, I said. Madison snapped a picture, her face calm but eyes blazing. Good. Let them think they're winning. She uploaded the photo to her evidence folder, now bursting with screenshots, notices, and footage. At 6 p.m., we walked into the library, a small crowd of neighbors behind us. The meeting room was set up like a courtroom, with Jonni and Arya at a table, wearing their fake vests. A third guy, tall and loud, introduced himself as Chief Sansa. I almost laughed. Sansa, our sweet neighbor, had no clue they were using her name. Jonni stood, holding a clipboard. Thanks for coming, he said, all official. We're here to address violations. Madison stepped forward, her voice cutting through. Like what, Jonni? Fake badges? Extortion. The room went quiet. Johnny's face twitched. This is a private meeting, ma'am. Madison smiled, cold as ice. Private? You're scamming half this neighborhood. Arya stood, pointing at Madison. You're out of line. But the neighbors murmured, some nodding. Tim spoke up. They fined me for my kids' hoop. I paid $300. Another neighbor, a grandma, added, they said my porch light's too bright. Wanted $400. Jonni raised his hands. Calm down, folks. Pay the fines and we're good. That's when Madison dropped the bomb. She held up her phone, showing the fake website's PayPal link. This goes to you, Jonni Kessler. No HOA exists here. You're a fraud. The room erupted, neighbors gasping, Jonni turning red. You can't prove that, he shouted. Madison didn't blink. I already did. She nodded to me, and I passed out copies of the county records showing no HOA. The neighbors grabbed them, whispering. Chief Sansa, the tall guy, slipped out the back. Jonni grabbed his radio, muttering, we got a problem. Madison leaned in, her voice low. Run all you want, Jonni. You're done. I saw fear in his eyes for the first time. We'd shaken them, but the fight wasn't over. The library meeting room buzzed with angry voices as neighbors clutched the county records Madison had handed out. Jonni stood at the front, his face red, gripping his fake badge like it could save him. Arya whispered something to him, her eyes darting to the door where Chief Sansa had slipped out. Madison stayed calm, her arms crossed, watching them like a hawk. I felt my heart pounding. This was our shot to end it. But Jonni wasn't done. He slammed his clipboard down. This meeting's over, he shouted, storming toward the exit. Neighbors yelled after him, but Madison raised a hand. Let him go, she said. He's scared. That's good. Back home, we sat around the kitchen table, neighbors crowded in. Sansa brought cookies, her hands still shaky, but her smile real. Tim, the dad, kept thanking Madison. You saved me $300, he said, his kid asleep on his shoulder. Madison shook her head. We're not safe yet. They know we're on to them. I saw worry in her eyes, not for herself, but for everyone else. That's when I realized how much this meant to her, not just stopping a scam, but protecting people, like she did in the Marines. The next morning, a new twist hit. Our front door had a note taped to it. Back off, or you'll regret it. No signature, just block letters in black marker. I showed Madison, expecting her to brush it off, but her face went hard. They are desperate, she said, folding the note into her evidence pile. She called her Marine buddy Mike again, asking him to trace the PayPal account. He called back an hour later with a shock. The account had moved $10,000 in a month, all from Willow Creek folks. This is bigger than Jonni, Madison said, pacing. Someone's backing him. That afternoon, we got another clue. Sansa ran over, out of breath. I saw Arya at the gas station, she said. She was arguing with a man in a suit. He gave her an envelope. Madison's eyes lit up. Cash. Sansa nodded. Looked like it. Madison grabbed her keys. Rock, we're tailing Arya. I blinked. Tailing? Like spies. She smirked. Like Marines. We followed Arya's van to a rundown office park 10 minutes away. She parked, went inside a building with no sign. Madison snapped pictures from our car. That's their base, she whispered. We waited, and sure enough, Jonni showed up, carrying a laptop. They're moving fast, Madison said. We need to act before they disappear. That night, we hit a human wall. My sister called, worried. Rock, I saw a post online about your house. It says you're troublemakers. I checked my phone and felt sick. A fake neighborhood page had pictures of our house, calling us non-compliant and dangerous. Comments piled up, some from strangers, some from neighbors we hadn't met. They're turning people against us, I said. Madison sat next to me, her hand on mine. They want us to quit, she said. But I don't quit. Her voice was soft, but it carried the weight of every mission she'd fought. She posted a reply on the page, simple and clear. No HOA exists. Check your deeds. We're fighting for you. By morning, the post had 50 likes, and neighbors started messaging us, sharing their own finds. One woman wrote, they took $600 for my kid's swing set. Help us. Madison read it aloud, her voice cracking. This is why we're doing this, Rock. I nodded, feeling the weight of it all. But the biggest twist came at noon. Our camera caught Jonni back in our yard, holding a pellet gun, aiming at our windows. He's lost it, I said, my hand shaking. Madison watched the footage, her face like stone. He's not lost it, she said. He's sending a message. But he's about to get one back. Madison stared at the camera footage of Jonni aiming a pellet gun at our windows, her eyes like fire. I was shaking, ready to call the cops, but she grabbed my arm. Not yet, Rock, she said. We're ending this our way. Her voice was calm, but I knew that tone. She was in Marine mode, planning a takedown. She saved the footage, labeled it threat_6-20-25, and added it to her evidence pile. That morning, a new twist blindsided us. Our neighbor Tim rushed over, holding a letter. They sent this to everyone, he said, his voice tight. The letter, on fake patrol letterhead, claimed Madison and I were instigating unrest and demanded a community vote to evict us. Evict us. I laughed, but my stomach churned. Tim shook his head. Some folks believe it. They're scared. Madison read the letter, her jaw tight. They're dividing us, she said. Classic tactic. She called a neighbor meeting at our house that evening, determined to fight back. By noon, another shock hit. Sansa called, whispering. I got a voicemail, Madison. They said if I talk to you, they'll fine me $2,000. Madison put her on speaker. Sansa, play it. The message was chilling. A man's voice, not Jonni's, saying, stay away from the Carters, or you'll lose everything. Sansa sobbed. What do I do? Madison's voice softened. Come to the meeting tonight. You're not alone. After the call, Madison paced. That wasn't Jonni, she said. There's a bigger player. I felt a chill. This wasn't just a scam, it was a power grab. That afternoon, we tailed Arya's van again, hoping for answers. It stopped at a coffee shop, where she met the man in a suit Sansa had seen. Madison zoomed in with her phone camera. He's got a county badge, she whispered. This goes higher than we thought. They exchanged a USB drive, and the man handed Arya a thick envelope. We followed him to a county office building, where he disappeared inside. Madison's face went pale. If he's a crooked official, this just got dangerous. Back home, we prepped for the neighbor meeting. Sansa showed up first, bringing her grandson, who hugged Madison like she was family. Tim came with his wife, and 5 others joined, all with stories of fines and threats. One woman, a nurse, said, they took $500 for my dog's barking. I'm working double shifts to pay it. Madison listened, her eyes fierce but kind. We're stopping them, she promised. She showed the footage of Jonni's pellet gun, the fake letterhead, and the PayPal records. The neighbors gasped, then got mad. Let's call the sheriff, Tim said. Madison shook her head. Not enough proof yet. We need them to slip up. That's when the biggest twist hit. Our doorbell rang mid-meeting. I opened it to find Jonni, alone, holding a new notice. Cease and desist, he said, shoving it at me. Stop your lies, or we'll sue. I laughed. Sue us? You're a fraud, man. His eyes narrowed. You don't know who you're messing with. Madison stepped forward, her voice ice cold. No, Jonni. You don't. He froze, then smirked. Big talk. You'll see tomorrow night. He walked off, leaving the notice. It wasn't a fine. It was an invite to a final community hearing at their office park, where they'd settle all disputes. Madison read it, her smile dangerous. They're setting a trap, she said, but we'll turn it on them. The neighbors cheered, ready to fight. I looked at Madison, my heart full. She wasn't just my wife, she was their shield, and Jonni was walking into her battlefield. The final community hearing. Invite sat on our kitchen counter like a ticking bomb. Madison stared at it, her coffee untouched, planning like she was back in a war room. They're cornered, she said. This is their last stand. I nodded, but my gut twisted. Jonni's smirk from last night stuck with me. He wasn't backing down. The neighbors were ready, though. Sansa had called everyone she knew, and Tim was printing flyers to spread the truth. Our house felt like a headquarters, with coffee cups and worried faces everywhere. That morning, a new twist hit us hard. I checked our cameras and saw footage from 3 a.m. Jonni and Arya spray painting trouble on our garage door. But the real shock was the third figure, the man in the suit from the county office, holding a flashlight. He's one of them, I said, my voice shaking. Madison zoomed in on his face. That's Paul Vance, a county clerk. I checked his records. He's got a history of fraud charges, dropped for lack of evidence. Her eyes narrowed. He's the brains. I felt sick. This wasn't just Jonni's scam, it went deeper. Madison called her Marine buddy Mike, who promised to pull Vance's financials. By noon, he sent a bombshell. Vance's account showed deposits linked to the fake patrol's PayPal. He's laundering their fines, Madison said, taping the bank records to her whiteboard. The neighbors gathered again that afternoon, more than last time. Sansa's grandson handed out cookies, his little smile easing the tension. A single mom, Jonni, spoke up, her voice cracking. They fined me $700 for my kid's bike in the yard. I paid because I was scared they'd take my home. Madison knelt beside her. Nobody's taking your home, Jonni. We're ending this tonight. Everyone nodded, their fear turning to fire. But another twist came fast. Tim pulled me aside, his face pale. Someone slashed my tires last night, he whispered. I think it was them. I told Madison, and she checked the camera footage again. Sure enough, Arya's van was parked near Tim's house at midnight. They're trying to scare us off, Madison said. It won't work. She organized everyone for the hearing, assigning roles like a mission leader. Sansa would record audio, Tim would take photos, and I'd watch for Vance. At 7 p.m., we walked into the office park, a dingy building with flickering lights. Jonni, Arya, and Vance stood at a table, dressed in their fake vests, acting official. About 20 neighbors showed up, some angry, some nervous. Jonni started, his voice loud. We're here to settle violations. Pay your fines or face consequences. A man in the back shouted, You're not real. Jonni pointed at him. Sit down or you're out. That's when Madison stood, her voice cutting through. No, Jonni. You're out. She held up Vance's bank records, her phone screen glowing. You and Paul Vance are stealing from us. This ends now. The room froze. Vance stepped forward, smirking. You're making a mistake, lady. Madison didn't blink. No, Paul. You made the mistake. She nodded to Sansa, who played the voicemail threatening her. Neighbors gasped. Jonni grabbed a pellet gun from his belt, his hand shaking. Back off, he yelled, pointing it at Madison. My heart stopped. She just smiled, calm as ever. You're aiming at a Marine officer, Jonni. Bad move. His face went white. Vance bolted for the door, but Tim blocked him, camera flashing. The neighbors surged forward, yelling. Madison raised her hand. Stay calm, everyone. I've got this. She pulled out her phone, already dialing the sheriff. Jonni's gun shook harder. This was it, the breaking point. Jonni's pellet gun trembled in his hand, pointed at Madison, but her eyes didn't flinch. The office park room was chaos, neighbors shouting, Tim snapping photos, Sansa recording. Vance was pinned by the door, his smug grin gone. I stood frozen, my heart hammering, but Madison was a rock. Put it down, Jonni, she said, her voice steady like she was talking to a kid. You're done. Jonni's face twisted, sweat dripping. You can't touch me, he yelled. That's when the sheriff's sirens wailed outside. Madison smirked. Want a bet? The door burst open, and 3 deputies stormed in, guns drawn. Drop the weapon, one shouted. Jonni's gun clattered to the floor, and he sank to his knees, hands up. Arya screamed, this is a setup, but a deputy cuffed her. Vance tried to talk his way out, flashing his county badge, but Madison cut him off. He's their leader, she said, handing over her evidence folder, bank records, footage, voicemails. The deputy nodded. Paul Vance, you're under arrest for fraud and extortion. The neighbors erupted in cheers as the trio was hauled out. Sansa hugged Madison, tears streaming. You saved us, she whispered. Madison hugged back, her eyes soft. We saved each other. The deputies took our statements, and Madison laid out every detail like a Marine debrief. I watched, proud but shaken. She turned a neighborhood nightmare into a victory. The next twist came fast. The sheriff found a laptop in Vance's car, loaded with records of $50,000 in fake fines from Willow Creek alone. This was a full-on racket, the sheriff told us. Vance used his county access to dodge taxes. Jonni and Arya were his muscle. Neighbors gasped, realizing how deep the scam ran. Tim slapped my back. "Your wife's a hero, Rock." I grinned. Always was. That night, we gathered at Sansa's house, too wired to sleep. Jonni, the single mom, brought pizza, her kid laughing for the first time in weeks. Sansa's grandson drew a picture of Madison as a superhero, and we all laughed when she blushed. But the real revenge came days later. The sheriff called Madison to the station. "We're refunding the fines," he said, "and Vance's assets are frozen. Victims get first claim." Madison nodded, but her smile was fierce. "Make sure Sansa and Jonni get theirs first." Back home, she framed the Pay Now notice from our mailbox, hanging it in her office with busted scrawled across it. I laughed. "Trophy." She winked. "Reminder." The final payoff was a neighborhood cookout we called No Fines Fiesta. Tim grilled burgers, Sansa baked pies, and kids ran around, free from fake rules. A local news crew showed up, calling Madison the Marine who stopped a scam. She shrugged it off, but I saw her eyes shine when neighbors toasted her. Jonni hugged her tight. "I got my $700 back," she said. "Thank you." Madison squeezed her hand. "Just doing my job." Later, we sat on our porch, the spray-painted trouble gone, our mailbox fixed. I looked at Madison, her face calm but strong. "You scared me back there," I said. She laughed soft. "Scared the more." I took her hand, grateful for her fire. The moral hit me then: bullies only win if you let them. Madison taught us to fight back, not just for us but for everyone. Willow Creek wasn't just a neighborhood anymore. It was a family, forged in a battle we'd never forget.